The life of Prophet Muhammad. The predictions of Jewish religious scholars at the time of Prophet's birth. Hafiz Abu Na'im, in his book Dalail al-Nubuwah, narrates an account from Abdurrahman bin Abi Sa'id. He mentions that one day Abdurrahman bin Abi Sa'id was staying in the tribe of Banu Ashhal. At that time, he had no knowledge of the birth of Prophet Muhammad. However, the following day, when he and his companions reached a place called Hudna in the tribe of Harb, they overheard a Jewish scholar named Yusha saying, "I can see that a prophet named Ahmad has been born in Mecca." Upon hearing this, a man from Banu Ashhal, Khalifa bin Thalaba al-Ashali, asked Yusha, "Are you joking? Tell us, what are the qualities of this prophet?" Yusha replied, "This prophet will emerge from the sacred land, Haram. His stature will be neither short nor too tall. His eyes will have reddish streaks, and he will wear a turban along with his attire." When Khalifa bin Thalaba returned to his tribe and narrated Yusha's words, his tribesmen replied, "You speak of only Yusha, but since yesterday, all the Jews in Yathrib, Medina, are saying the same things." The prophecy of Jewish scholar Zubair bin Bada. Malik bin Sinan narrates that one day, by chance, he visited the Jewish tribe of Banu Qurayza. There, he observed a large gathering where their renowned scholar, Zubair bin Bada, was saying, "A red star has appeared in the sky, which only emerges when a prophet is born. The prophet born today is named Ahmad, and he is the last prophet. He will migrate to this very land." This prophecy of Zubair bin Bada remained well known. Years later, when someone narrated this incident to Prophet Muhammad, he said, "If Zubair bin Bada had embraced Islam, his entire tribe would have followed him, as they were his staunch followers." The Jews' jealousy and denial. Abu Na'im, quoting other reliable narrators and Zayd bin Thabit R.A., mentions that the Jewish tribes of Banu Qurayza and Banu Nadir used to say, "The red star only appears at the birth of the last prophet. His name will be Ahmad, and he will migrate to Yathrib, Medina. It is incumbent upon us to follow him." However, when Prophet Muhammad migrated from Mecca to Medina, the same Jews, who had settled in Medina, awaiting the fulfillment of prophecies in their sacred books about the coming of the final prophet in Arabia, refused to believe in him. Their jealousy stemmed from the fact that the last prophet had been sent among the descendants of Ismail, alayhi salam, rather than the descendants of Israel. Out of envy, they not only rejected the truth, but also continued to conceal it and persist in disbelief knowingly. Strange events at the time of Prophet's birth. Several extraordinary events occurred at the time of the Prophet's birth. For instance, 1. A powerful earthquake struck the palace of the Persian emperor, Kisra, causing 14 of its towers to collapse. 2. The sacred fire of the royal Zoroastrian fire temple, which had been burning for 1,000 years, was suddenly extinguished. 3. Lake Sawa, a famous lake in Persia, suddenly dried up. The collapse of the idols of falsehood. In the previous episode, we discussed the passing of Hazrat Abdullah bin Abdul Muttalib and some extraordinary events at the time of the birth of Prophet Muhammad. In this episode, we will delve into another remarkable incident that occurred in the palace of the Persian emperor. Hafiz Abu Bakr Muhammad bin Jafar bin Sahl al-Qara'iti narrates in his book Hawadith al-Jinn through various sources that during the blessed birth of Prophet Muhammad, a severe earthquake struck the palace of the famous Persian emperor Nashirwan. As a result, 14 of the palace's domes collapsed. If the incident had been limited to this alone, it could have been dismissed as a mere accident. However, alongside this earthquake, several other extraordinary and astonishing occurrences took place. One such event was the sudden extinguishing of the sacred fire in the royal fire temple, which had been burning continuously for 1,000 years. Never before had this sacred flame gone out. Additionally, Lake Sawa, an important lake in Persia, mysteriously began to boil and then dried up completely. Nashirwan, deeply shaken by these events, summoned his advisor, Mubayzin, and narrated the incidents, seeking his opinion. Mubayzin informed Nashirwan that the previous night he had also experienced a strange dream. In the dream, he saw groups of people riding camels surging from the direction of Arabia toward Persia, crossing the river Tigris. Nashirwan, already troubled by the incidents, became even more concerned after hearing the dream. He asked Mubayzin to interpret it. Mubazin suggested consulting a learned scholar to understand the true significance of these events and dreams. Following this advice, Noshirwan wrote a letter to his deputy in Yemen, Nu'man bin Mundhir, instructing him to immediately come to his court, accompanied by a knowledgeable person capable of interpreting these events. Upon receiving the royal decree, Nu'man bin Mundhir promptly arrived at Noshirwan's court. Alongside him, he brought a renowned Christian scholar named Abdul Masih bin Amr bin Hayyan bin Nafila al-Ghassani. Noshirwan narrated the events in Mubazin's dream to Abdul Masih and asked for its interpretation. Abdul Masih replied that while he could share his understanding, it would be best to consult his uncle Sadi, who was based in Syria and served as a deputy under the Roman emperor. Sadi, he explained, was far more knowledgeable and adept at interpreting such matters. Noshirwan approved this suggestion and sent Abdul Masih with some of his men to meet Sadi in Syria. Sadi's prophecy. Abdul Masih traveled to Damascus, the capital of Syria, and presented himself before his uncle Sadi, who was seated regally on his golden throne. He narrated the events in Mubazin's dream, mentioning that he had come on behalf of Emperor Noshirwan, who sought an interpretation. After hearing the account, Sadi fell silent, lost in deep thought. Abdul Masih, seeing no response, assumed Sadi was indifferent to his request. Expressing his discontent, Abdul Masih recited verses lamenting Sadi's lack of attention. Hearing the poetry, Sadi emerged from his contemplation and said, "If the events in dream are as you have described, then understand this. One day, not only will the Persian Empire fall from Noshirwan's lineage, but even this land of Syria, where I rule as a deputy under the Roman emperor, will be taken over by the Arab camel riders seen crossing the Tigris in Mubazin's dream." When Abdul Masih returned to Persia and conveyed Sadi's prophecy to Noshirwan, the emperor remarked, "My dynasty will continue to rule for several generations. Whatever happens after that will be dealt with later." The fulfillment of prophecy. History bears witness that Sadi's prediction came true word for word. From the final days of the Prophet Muhammad's blessed life, Islamic campaigns against Persia and Rome began. Ultimately, during the caliphate of the third rightly guided caliph, Hazrat Uthman ibn Affan, R.A., these efforts reached completion. The 3,164-year-long Persian monarchy was brought to its knees under the hooves of the Islamic army's horses, and the Islamic flag was raised over the land of Syria.